Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. Wonderful people, Facebook, YouTube, we love you. We thank God for each and every one of you, and we thank God for those who are walking in right now into the sanctuary. Welcome, come all the way to the front, and those of you that coming in personally, you know what to do. Sign up, get yourself that wonderful ticket, because we're gonna get some winners tonight. There's some awesome prizes tonight. But I'll tell you, the prizes of all, we feel healthy. Hallelujah. And we're gonna get healthier because, like Pastor Jennifer said Sunday, God needs us. He wants to use us, but He wants to use us only, because if we are healthy, then we are able to move. Because God is in the move, and He wants to move through His people. So, yes, I am talking to the people up there on the camera. So, it's good to be together tonight. You know already, some of you who have been with us, those of you for the first time, we welcome you. You need to tell us who you are online. Write your name, where you're from, because our operation manager, Donna, is watching to take your name to draw, at the end of the episode, some winners from you too. So you're not just people who are here will be win, but people who are watching too will be able to win prizes. But before I introduce these lovely two ladies here who are going to bless us mightily about physical health, I would like you to watch this little amazing video. It's time for the family to come together in person. And that's what we're doing on Sunday. It's not about Halloween. It's not about harvest. It's about the family coming together for some fun and fellowship. Go ahead. Play that video. Yeah, so come on down. Come here to the building, on that Sunday, and bring your children, bring your, your loved ones, your friends. Come and see us, and we'll have fellowship together. But tonight, come on, we are ready to listen to our pastor, Pastor Jennifer here, and with her lovely guest.
Hello, everyone. Hi to everyone who's in the room. Hi to everyone who's watching online. I see that we're slowly gaining some viewers here. And we are excited about week 3 of our Total Health interview series. So tonight, I have with me Coach. We're going to call you Coach. Okay. Is that good, Coach? All right. We have Coach Maura Duah in the house. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so excited that you're with us tonight and that you said yes to be with us. And we are going to learn a lot. Tonight is so practical. Tonight is about practical tips. We're going to show you things. We're going to read things to you. You're going to see things on the screen. And we're going to just take our time because we want as many people to be blessed as possible. So as I see the online audience is growing and people are coming into the room tonight, take a moment and tell us who you are so that we can include you in tonight's raffle giveaways. And if you walked in tonight and didn't get a chance to fill out a raffle ticket at the door, make sure you do that and drop it in the basket because we have some amazing giveaways tonight. We've kept some of them as a surprise. First of all, one of our giveaways tonight is this awesome 50-ounce water bottle to take to the gym because we want to encourage people tonight to go to the gym, right? And then we're also giving away a free 1-month membership to Best Fitness Gym at any location of your choosing. And if you are chosen for that, we'll connect and you tell me which location is best for you and we'll sign you up for that free month. Does that sound good? Awesome. So now I will let Coach Maura also just introduce herself, tell us who you are, tell us what you do, and tell us about the other surprise giveaways we have tonight.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I honestly am honored to have been asked to come and be part of this series. I was so excited to see this series coming to CCF, and the breakdown is just, it's been beautiful. So thank you very much for having me. I'll first go to added the giveaways for tonight before I tell more about myself, because it kind of will go hand in hand. But I am a certified transformational coach, health coach. It's funny that you just called me coach, because I've been called coach for 30 years of my life, which I'll explain.
That's right.
But one of the giveaways is that I would like to give 2 half-hour sessions to someone. And basically what we do in those half-hour sessions is to figure out what a person's goals are, and to take it a step further, which is so much more important that I think it'll come up tonight, is to figure out why they have those goals, because their why is so much more important. And that takes time. That's not just a 2-minute, 3-minute. That takes some time to dig deep. Also, what we'll do in those 2 half-hour sessions is break down what's happening right now with this person's nutrition and wellness, and then really put in some tips and tricks. The second giveaway is my husband and I own a gym, Edmund Sculptor at Strength in North Chelmsford, and Edmund is. He operates the gym. I'm just behind the scenes. He's the trainer, but he definitely has a well-sought-after, different approach, and he has offered up a 40-minute fitness assessment for someone. And what that does is it gives Edmund an idea that at the end of the fitness assessment, he's able to say, this is what would help you reach your goals. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Are we excited? That is so exciting. So if you are interested in any of these giveaways, we're going to do it a little differently this week. This week, if you're interested, then put your name in and say, I'm interested, or something like that. Let us know that you're interested, because you will be entered into the giveaway. I know last week, maybe life coaching wasn't for everyone, and so maybe you weren't ready to take that step if you were chosen as a winner. But this week, we want to make sure that these giveaways and these prizes go to someone who will really use them, people that will really want to actually use them. So put your name in, say you're interested, and Minister Donna at home will be putting you guys in a raffle and drawing names at the end. If you're just coming in here in person, make sure you fill out a raffle ticket out in the lobby and place it in the basket if you'd like to try to win some of these prizes. Awesome? And I know firsthand how important it is to have a coach, whether it's the life coach that we met last week or a physical and nutrition coach. I know that without a coach, for me at least, I don't know how many of you watching or listening here would attest to this, but without a coach, for me at least, I probably would not have come as far as I have on my physical health journey. And because a coach, I would say, that's why we've also been given the Holy Spirit, right? Jesus said when he went and ascended to heaven that I will be giving you a counselor, a helper, right? The Holy Spirit, he's the one who counsels us and coaches us and guides us every day of our lives as we grow in our spiritual walk. And then now in the physical sense, in the natural sense, it's good to have a coach as well. And so I'm glad that you're doing this, and I know that you've helped so many people. I want to give a shout out to my coaches at Dynamic Strength and Conditioning, because again, without them, I probably wouldn't have come this far. And then another reason why a lot of people come far in their journeys is another strong word, and that is actually a word that's in our church name. Who can guess what I'm talking about? Community. Community. It's good to have a coach, but it's also good to have a community. And I know that Coach Maura works with a community. I know that I'm part of a great gym community. And so if you want more information, let's connect throughout this segment tonight. And later, we'll also give you information of how to connect. Yes. So let's get started, all right? We're going to start asking some questions. We're going to start getting into some great topics tonight. And then you can start asking your questions by either writing it on a card and giving it to a pastor here in the room, or typing it in online in the feed, whether you're on YouTube or on Facebook. So let me get to my notes here. We're going to start with an overall question for Coach Maura, and that is, what have you discovered about physical health since you started your journey?
Well, I think it would make sense for me to give you a little bit of my background so that you're going to get the punchline of my answer on this one.
Okay.
So I have been a health educator for 26 years, and I've worked in the Chelmsford public school system at the high school level, a little bit of middle school, but mostly at the high school level. And absolutely, honestly, I can say I adored every single moment. I was privileged to be given a lot of freedom in writing curriculum and producing curriculum, and over the years had my hands in writing the curriculum for the entire school system. The last 10 years that I was working as a school teacher, I taught 2 courses that I had developed. And one of them was called The Power of Choice. And it was primarily a nutrition course, a little bit of fitness, but primarily a nutrition course. And when we first wrote that course that first semester, it was terrible. Terrible. And the reason it was terrible was because we were trying to teach the science of nutrition to 16 through 18-year-olds. And it wasn't what they needed. It wasn't where their mindset was. And it honestly wasn't my skill set. My skill set was much greater in using habits to change behaviors, building habits to change behaviors. And when we finally realized that after that first semester, we tweaked it, and the power of choice was just that, empowering juniors and seniors in high school with the knowledge so that they would make wise choices for themselves when it came to fueling themselves. So there's one aspect of my background. Another is the other course that it developed and was involved in developing and taught for many years was called Reality Check. So it was juniors and seniors in high school. Reality Check is just that, a little bit of everything. So I also was a athletic coach, and for 30 years, Chelmsford High School and in some programs in the state. And so the reason I'm telling you this is the build up to why I needed help. So you add into that, I was an athletic coach for many years. I was a health educator for many years. My husband is a trainer. He has great knowledge. We own a gym. You would think with all of that, I should have had everything I needed for my health to be picture perfect. And it wasn't. And it wasn't. And it took exactly what you just said. It took me reaching outside of us even.
Yeah.
And reaching outside and finally saying, I need help. I need help. And it was hard. It was not an easy thing. It was a very humbling experience, and I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want anyone to know. So I reached out to a coach. She told me about a program that she thought would help me. I said, that sounds amazing, but it's not for me. Mm-hmm. Why? Because I was supposed to do it myself. So for 3 weeks, I took all of my knowledge, I put a nutrition plan together, I worked out like crazy in our gym. I wasn't even paying for a gym. In our gym, and I gained 2.5 pounds, and I felt worse. And the punchline here is that what have I figured out about physical health? That sometimes we need to step back from what we think we know. A lot of times we need to step back from our own experience. And we need to look outside of because something that we're doing is not working. So I needed a coach. I had been coaching hundreds and hundreds of people for years. I never reached out to have my own coach. And believe me, my husband is like living with a 24-hour, 7 days a week coach. Mm-hmm. And we love helping each other, but I needed even beyond that because I needed someone to not take me for Coach Maura and not take me for the person that's supposed to know everything. So the main thing that I learned through my journey is don't try to do it by yourself. Mm-hmm. Seek advice, and it doesn't have to be the kind of advice or the place that someone says you should go to that place. Mm-hmm. You really have to dig deep and figure out what will work for you. Shop around. Shop around. We need a coach in so many areas of our life. I mean, I hadn't been to a mall in a long time. I'm not a big shopper. And I went to the mall a couple of weeks ago, and I walked into a store that everyone's raving about, and I looked around, and I said, wow, everything looks great. How would I put an outfit together? And you know what? A girl came over to me that works there, and she's like, can I help you? I said, please. And she said, what are you looking for? I told her. She came back with 6 outfits for me to try on. She coached me. Yeah. So we need a coach in so many aspects of our life. I don't know if that was the answer you were looking for.
Yeah, no, that's great.
But that was the main thing that I learned through my own journey.
Yeah, that's awesome. What I picked up on was when you said that sometimes we need to step back from what we know, because there are a lot of misconceptions out there about physical health, like in the aspect of dieting or working out. There's a lot of misconceptions about food, and especially, carbs. You and I were talking about how so many people think and have believed that carbohydrates are bad. But we're going to get into that later today and kind of freeing everybody up about carbohydrates, because they're not all bad. And so sometimes we need to step back from what we know or what we think we know and what's been advertised out there to make money by certain companies, right? And find out what works for us. Because if you remember on Sunday morning, we said that every body is different. Every body is different, and what works for someone may not work for someone else. And I love that you said that you need to take the time and you need to shop around, because I know that for me at least, I needed a group setting. Some people are more motivated to work out alone. Mm-hmm. Some people are not, and I'm one of them. I'm not motivated to work out alone. I need a group setting. So I was in one in Drake one time for a few years, and it closed down, and I was heartbroken. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh my goodness, what am I going to do now when they closed down? So I knew that when I went to go look for another gym, it had to be something like that one, where there were group classes and a group setting. I wasn't going back to working out alone. But some people are fine that way, so you need to find what works for you.
So true.
Awesome. So that takes us to a very important question about getting started. Getting started. And whenever we start something, there's a need for the M word, and that is motivation. There's always a need for motivation in anything you do. If you don't have motivation, then there's really no purpose for doing something, right? And so what role do you think motivation plays in physical health?
My initial answer is it's everything. However, we also need to take it a step deeper there as well. So the big question is always, what do you want? And then the next question is, why? So what do you want? What do you want to change with your health? What are you looking for? That is so different for every person, and it is very, very important in my role now as a health coach for me to really listen and not drive that answer. Because you could have someone sitting right in front of you, and they sometimes look like the picture of health, everyone walking around would look at them and say, they are so healthy. But when you sit down and you ask them, what would you like to change in your health? They have an answer. Because we absolutely cannot just judge by looking at someone what they might or might not need. The second question is why? And that's the big one. It becomes your why. And, we hear that in our society in a lot of places, but I gotta tell you, it works. And I see it every single day with the people that we're walking with in their health journeys. Once they know what they want to change in their health, then you have to figure out why. What is the driving motivation for that?
Yep.
And that driving motivation, if it comes up and that person says, I'm going to Aruba in a month, that's a tiny piece. That's not the why. Most don't say that, though, because you've already established, and this is what I'm asking people out there to do, is establish what you want to change in your health. So when you get to the why, you can really go deep. So when a person looks at me and says, I want all of that, all of the reasons why I want to get healthy, and I want that because I want the energy to run around with my grandkids. I want to get up, down on the floor. I want to get up off the floor. And I want to be around for their high school graduation. And I want to be, and they get their fun at that point. They're like, I want to be that cool grandmother. That's a why. Yeah. That's a driving force because, in a health journey, it's not always easy. And for us to say, oh, okay, here's a plan, have fun, doesn't work. It doesn't work because there are days where that is difficult. There are moments where it's very difficult. And when difficult moments come, as we all know, we slide back into our old behaviors. It's really just the behavior science there.
Yeah.
So when someone has a very strong why, and especially if they have someone that they're getting supported with, maybe a coach or a friend, or it doesn't matter. Just someone is supporting them and is holding them accountable. When they have those tough days, when they have those tough moments, bring them back to the why. Because that why of having the energy with those grandkids, that's not going to go away. That's the real reason. That's the real motivation. Now, they do slide in things like, I want to be able to shop in my own closet. Great. That's perfect. It supports the major why. They might want to say, I want to feel confident because da-da-da-da-da. That supports that major why, but you got to get the action. So motivation is everything, but it doesn't just come from inside of us, because the second times get tough, we're human.
Yep.
We are human, and we slide back.
That's great. That's awesome. I want to say that motivation was key for me. What motivated me was key for me. About 5 years ago, realizing that my nieces had so much energy. And I love to spend time with them. If you know me at all, you know that I love to spend time with my nieces. And they are just bundles of energy. I can't, even now, I still can't keep up with them sometimes. And so I realized that I wanted to be able to do the things they were doing, go the places they were going, and have fun and not be exhausted. And so that was one of my motivations. And that has kept me till this day as a major motivation, because they're getting older and they still have all that energy, and I don't ever want to be in that place where I'm too tired to go somewhere they're going and make all those memories. So that is important, and I encourage everyone watching to ask yourself, what is my motivation for physical health? And I know that first of all we get our strength, and we get our strength from the Lord. Amen. That He will give us the strength to do what He would really desire for all of us. And we know by now, after 3 weeks of this series, that he desires us to be healthy. And so he will empower you. He will help you. But you have to do the work, right?
Yes.
And we've talked about that last week. You have to do the work of figuring out your why. And so I love that. All right, we're going to get really practical. We're going to get into some just real basic, like actual tips about food, about exercise, about all this stuff. So let's go into the next question that I have here, which is, Coach Maura, what do you believe overall about food? Because food is so connected to our health. What do you believe overall about food that will help the average person learn how to better eat in life and better prepare meals and all that? So,
Well, I come back to something that I would say in the courses that I was teaching all of those years, and that is food is fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Food's function is fuel. Food is one of the staples that keeps us alive.
yeah,
Without it, we don't live.
right.
So it is fuel.
Yeah.
Nutrition is actually simple. It's our society that's made it so crazy and so complicated. Nutrition itself is very basic. Very basic. So when you're deciding, I need to change what I'm eating, I need to figure out what I'm supposed to have, start with the word fuel. What is going to fuel you for your day? What is going to fuel you for your life? Because we have different needs. Your needs are different than mine. Pastor's needs are different than ours.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to build that knowledge of what our day is like and how we need to fuel it. And I'll explain it like this. I used to have Edmund, my husband, come in and speak to my classes, and he would explain it to them in a teenage perspective. And that's why I wanted to mention something about teenagers. This is for all ages. This is for, if we taught little kids food is fuel, yes, they can have fun things here and there. Of course they can. Mm-hmm. But if we taught them that food is fuel, I'm honestly going to tell you, deep down in my heart, I believe we would not be dealing with the issues that we're dealing with in the adult population. So Edmund used to come into my classes, and he would explain to them, and he would draw this person on the board that was carrying, it was a sack, or it was the globe, or it was different things, different times, but what it represented was each one of those teenagers, what they carried in their day. So some kids got up, came to school, and believe me, I know this is fact, I spent most of my life with them, came to school without eating anything, sat class after class after class, without eating anything, barely drinking water, and they were learning, and they were socializing, and they were stressing, and they were doing all of those things that adolescents do. And then they would eat something for lunch, maybe something from the school lunch. And then after school, they would grab something out of the machine downstairs by the gym. And then they would go off to football practice. And some of them, someone may drop something off for them to eat because then they had to go work at Market Basket. For a lot of kids, that's their day with very little fuel. So what Eben used to do is talk to them about what do they do in their day and what do they need to put into their bodies to fuel them for that. Because see, they're different. A 17 or 18-year-old, they're like in the machine stage of their life. They're still gonna run, they're still gonna walk, they're still gonna make it through the day. If you and I fueled ourselves like that, we wouldn't even be functioning. But they would light up when he explained this because they realized, wait a minute, I have to put into my body how I want my body to respond.
Yeah.
And that's for each and every one of us. Recognize that it's fuel, and then go back to the basics. Nutrition is so basic. Can I go on to the macronutrients now?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to actually segue into that by using an example. So in the mornings, and you've already said how maybe what I need for fuel could be different from what you need, but in the mornings, most of us are getting ready to go to work, and many people have some type of job where they have to use mental energy. They have to use their brain, right? Just like a student does at school. And what we're about to go into is talking about macros, which is balancing your proteins, fat, and carbs. And so for a long time in my life, my breakfast consisted either actually of nothing sometimes, because most of my life I would never be hungry in the mornings, or maybe a quick bagel or a bowl of cereal, and then I'd find myself hungry an hour later. And so what I've learned and what you're about to go into is the need for balanced meals that have all the macros in it, have certain macros, have all the different types of foods in them. And when I learned that and started applying that, everything changed for me. So go ahead and start talking about that.
Yeah, and I wanted to add that, there are times in our lives for many of us before we engaged in a health journey that bagel, because it was quick, it was going to fill you up for a long time.
Easy.
Yep, very easy, and probably one of the worst things we possibly could have been putting into our body in the morning. When I was embarking on my health journey, I quickly, because I kept saying, I'm eating good food. I know, like, I'm eating good food. It just wasn't the fuel for me. So once I figured out what we're about to talk about here, and fueling myself properly through the day, what I figured out, I was actually, yes, I was eating healthy food, but I was eating, honestly, as if I were a triathlete, which I am not, but like a 225-pound male triathlete. That's how I was eating. And so once you figure out, and someone can help you figure out your own specific needs, it starts to make sense. So macronutrients. We laughed about this when we talked the other day, because there are so many, there are just a lot of fads and different ideas that float around out there in our society. And someone will say, well, I'm counting my macros. And my first question is to nicely say to them, what does that mean? And so many say, I have no idea what that means. So let's talk about essential nutrients. There are 6 of them. There's protein, fat, and carbohydrate, which are the macro. Those are the big ones. Those are the big ones. Okay, they're not more important. They're just bigger. They're just bigger. And then you have vitamins, minerals, and water. What the key is here is that they're all equally important. You can't cut one out and think that you're fueling properly. And there are a lot of nutritional ideals out there that cut out certain nutrients. They are essential nutrients. That word essential is there for a reason. We have to have them. And the key is they all work together. Proteins do not work well without the right amount of vitamins. Fats do not work well. It's like they work in unison. They are a picture-perfect puzzle working together. So when it comes to the macronutrients, proteins, carbohydrates, fats, you never want to cut them out. The interesting one, is that the one that we want to talk about? The interesting one is carbohydrates. Because so many people say, I'm cutting out carbs, or I'm cutting down on carbs, or things like that. And it's so important for people to know what a carbohydrate is, or at least examples of a carbohydrate, because when you're talking about carbohydrate, you could be talking about bread, pasta, chocolate cake, an orange, or broccoli. They're all carbs.
Yeah.
So if we cut those things out, look what we're cutting out in the fruit, in the broccoli. We're cutting out is absolutely vital vitamins and minerals. So it's that building that knowledge of we need a balance. We need a balance, and that's where educating yourself and reaching out for help in educating yourself really works.
Yeah, definitely. Now, we could go into this in depth, but that's not necessarily what we have time for tonight. But if you would like more information, please reach out to Coach Maura. Please reach out. I can also give you some tips and information. I thought I might read something about carbohydrates, but I'll save it for lack of time right now. We have questions pouring in, actually. Did you have one? Well, I have already about 4 being texted to me, so we want to get to people's questions tonight.
Leave my mic on. Yes, we have the first question. We probably have the same ones because we're watching the same thing.
Yeah.
My why is important to me, but there are days I don't have the motivation nor the energy. What do you recommend?
You want me to take that one?
Yeah.
Your why needs to be everywhere. Written on a note card on a mirror. Put in your car on the dashboard, on a sticky note. Keep it simple. You can have it pop up in whatever form of technology that you use. You can have it pop up. It can be an alarm. Tell your best friend. Ask your best friend to remind you.
Wow.
Tell your mother. That's a hard one, but you can do it. She'll remind you. Honestly, I'm not kidding you. Use the children in your life. They don't forget anything, and they love having a job. So build a health bubble is what I'm talking about. Build a health bubble. I made the mistake for years. I kept it because I thought that's a sign of weakness.
Yeah.
I thought that was such a sign of weakness because I was supposed to do it on my own. Well, I can't do it on my own.
Yeah. Yeah.
So get it out there.
Yeah. Having honest conversations with your family is so important too. I'll be honest, there are times when I walk around the kitchen and I start getting frustrated and I said, this can't be in this kitchen anymore. Yes. We can't buy this anymore. I don't want to open the cabinet and see this. And I say this honestly to the people I live with. I say, I know that I should have my own discipline, but I'll be honest, I'm not as disciplined as you think I am. So it would really be helpful if you stopped buying this.
We were not born of disciplined beings.
Yeah.
We had to build that. So yeah, that's a great thing to do. And you know, there's a fine line of people. Some people say, well, you're on this journey, but I'm not. But we're on this journey of moving forward in our health together.
Yeah.
Is where we want it to come.
Yeah. Awesome. So we have another question here. Can you explain the science behind eating every 3 hours?
I would love to.
Okay.
I would love to. I firmly believe in it. I do. I firmly believe in it. And here's why. I know it works for me. I know it works for many, many, many people that we have helped. But to explain it, there's so much science behind it, and a lot of the science has to do with balance and balancing blood sugars. But let me go to just the simplicity. When a baby is born, an infant, they eat every few hours. They sleep, they wake up, they cry, they eat. They sleep, they eat every few hours. Somewhere along the line in our lifetime, we change that. Our human, sometimes weakness, sometimes we take just control things into our own hands. We change that. Most of the time, that happens in about middle school area. And kids will stop eating breakfast, or they'll stop eating at this time, or they'll go long periods, and then they're starving, and that's when they eat a whole bag of chips. So the eating every 2.5 to 3 hours, and really the science is 2 to 3 hours, keeps our blood sugars balanced so that we don't have those big highs and lows. So anyone that is a diabetic, like they'll tell you about highs and lows. They can tell you exactly how it feels. But even if you're not a diabetic, you feel it. And it affects every single thing in your life. Your mood, your relationships, your focus, your clarity. So when you think about it, there's a fire that needs to start up in the morning. And you put something into the fire and it burns. And then the fire starts to trickle. I don't know if trickle is the right word, but it starts to go out. And then you put some more in. And what you're doing is you're keeping your body at a very, very leveled place. The science is deep. That wasn't necessarily a scientific answer.
But it was a good answer.
But it's about as practical as we can get for everyone.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great. Do you have one?
Yes. How do you deal with a slow metabolism?
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm going to take this one gently.
Yeah.
We create a slower metabolism by our habits.
Okay.
Is it true that someone's metabolism might be slightly higher than yours? Yes. However, when you work to create basic health habits, eating every few hours, figuring out what the fuel is, making sure you get 64 ounces of water at a minimum.
Yeah.
That's 64 ounces of water. That's what the human body needs. When you engage in healthy motion, and if you notice I didn't say exercise, because as soon as I say exercise, people just assume it needs to be these heavy, crazy workouts. Healthy motion. When you do these things, your metabolism comes back to where it should be. And then you start efficiently burning the fuel that you're putting into your body. And you feel better, and you sleep better, and your moods are leveled. It's pretty amazing. So I'm not going to say slow metabolism doesn't exist. Most slower metabolisms that we see and we believe in for ourselves can easily be fixed with just basic health habits.
Awesome. That's a very good thing to know. I learned something just now. That's good. So any questions from the audience, make sure you write them down on a note card that's out in the lobby and give them to Pastor, and we'll be sure to get to them. If for some reason you joined us late tonight, be sure to put your name on the feed there so that we can include you in the raffle giveaways tonight. And keep those questions coming. We have another one here. Do you know of a superfood drink that could replace taking 9 or 10 vitamins a day? I'd love to know that too.
You might not like my answer. Food.
Yeah.
Food. So once again, like if we if we figure out what our body needs and we ask for help to figure out what our body needs, and we are getting in the right amount of the essential nutrients for our body, there's so many things that will happen there, but one of them will be there will be no need for some super duper drink. Taking a multivitamin, I absolutely support that, because the food today, even us getting it at an organic section of a store, it's not as jam-packed full of the vitamins and minerals as it was 50 years ago. However, you're getting what you need.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't have a specific drink.
Yeah, no, that's good. I thought you were going to say that anyway, so. And sometimes, sometimes we do some things that we don't like, but we know they're good for us. So, like, eating broccoli is not something I like to do, but I know it's good for me, so I'll eat it, and I'll stop complaining about it. Because I know that I'm getting something from it, I'm not the person to be able to explain to people what vitamins are in each food, but I know that there are certain vitamins in broccoli that is good for you. And so we do some things sometimes because they're good for us and not necessarily because we like them.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
When we lead by taste, think about that. If we lead by taste or we lead by comfort, isn't that what gets us to a place that's unhealthful?
Yes.
Because if taste drives, I'm going for peanut M&Ms. I don't know about anybody else. Like I love peanut M&Ms. I love the taste of peanut M&Ms.
Yeah.
But if that drives me, then I'm never going to choose the broccoli. But you develop, when you eat well over time, you develop that taste for the nutrition in the foods that you're eating. And your tastes change.
Yeah.
They do change, yeah. They do change. So, yeah, you're right. Like, when you go for the fuel first and what is going to serve your body well, and you've done that, and it's all good, have the peanut M&Ms.
Go
We
ahead.
have lots of questions
Yeah,
coming in.
lots of questions
Wow.
tonight. Good job, guys.
How do you maintain nutritional need during weight loss without having fruits and milk?
I'm sorry, without having fruits and...
Fruits and milk.
So this person believes that you should not have fruit or milk. So he's
or
asking-
milk. Oh, okay.
Or milk, yeah.
Okay.
So how do you maintain nutritional need during weight loss without having fruits or milk?
Yeah, fruit, great question. Fruit's a funny thing. Fruit is jam-packed with vitamins and minerals and the right kind of carbs. Like some of them are superfoods. With that said, if a goal is to shed body fat, having a lot of fruit is not serving that goal well. And this is where, don't take that the wrong way. I did not say fruit is not good. Fruit is wonderful. But think of it this way. Why do children love fruit? Sugar. Why, if you put watermelon out for children, well, and us, but children, they will go for that, and they will continuously go for that, because it's a very high glycemic food, which what that means is that you take it in, your body's gonna want more, because it just shoots right through you. It's just like sugar, bang, gone, want more, want more, want more. So if your goal is health, and you're moving towards a specific goal in your health, fruit is a major part of that. If your goal is shedding fat, fruit is just put aside for a short time, as long as the vitamins and minerals that are in the fruit are taken up somewhere else. And that's where that's where someone guiding you and someone coaching you is a good idea.
Yeah. I'm so glad you just brought up the point about what someone's goal is, because that's very important. The way that people are going to eat is different because it's going to be determined by their goal, right? So correct me if I'm wrong, but if a person is trying to shed fat, their particular foods and nutrition program or whatever, ways of eating will be different from someone who's trying to build muscle.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Very much
So
so.
we don't necessarily have time to get into that now, but it depends. Your goal is a big factor, plays a big factor in how you eat.
Let me just share a couple of categories on that. So people will come to us with, there's just a few major categories. Some will come because they want to shed fat. Some will come because they want to move away from medications, and they believe that if they get their nutrition in order and their exercise in order, they will be able to do that. Some come, and I love working with these people. They come and they're like, I'm a mess. Now my kids are a mess, help me. And they just need, the family just needs to we need to educate them a little bit to get some basics going. And then you have high performance athletes. So to your point, all of those people, those even categories are fueled very differently. And then each individual person is fueled differently. They have a base, but then they're fueled differently.
Okay, great. I have a question that was originally on my notes to ask, and that has to do with movement. I'll use the word movement, right? You like more than exercise, better than exercise. So
I love exercise.
I originally had the word exercise.
It scares some people,
Okay,
so that's the only reason
Working
I
out?
said that. Yeah. Oh no, go for it. Whatever you
Physical
want to say.
activity.
I like
How
the
about
word.
that?
I like the word movements. That really blesses me.
Yeah, movement and physical activity. Are there specific times of the day that are better for physical activity, movement, than others?
I'm going to answer this question from what I believe.
Okay.
But if there's anyone that wants to jump in on this as well, they're more than welcome to. Getting movement in is just essential. So when that has to fit your lifestyle and has to fit where you are going to be consistent. It's got to be consistent. I brought a book today just because, and it's not nutrition. It's not about nutrition. It's called The Compound Effect, but it's a wonderful, wonderful book to listen to or to read, because what it does is it explains no matter what habit that you're putting into your life, that you have to, it compounds by you continuously doing it. So, is it wonderful to exercise in the morning? For some people, yes. For all of us, it's great to move in the morning, to get ourselves moving.
Yeah.
Other people cannot work out at night because then they're wired. They're wired for the night. They have a hard time falling asleep. Other people can exercise anytime they want to, and it doesn't affect their sleep.
Okay. Yeah, because I always wondered about people who were going to the gym at 10 o'clock at night. I always wondered, I'm like, does that even work? Physically? Does it benefit someone?
I mean, it still does, certainly.
The way I always looked at it is that, you've already had all your meals of the day, and I can only imagine that someone's going to be hungry after a strenuous workout at 10 o'clock at night. And then I go back to what I've heard growing up, don't eat after a certain time, which is not what I believe now anymore, but,
Well, don't eat a bowl of ice cream after a certain time.
Yeah.
Again, it comes down to why are they exercising? So if a person is exercising to shed weight or to shed body fat, maybe 10 o'clock at night might not be the best time, although it does give in to the compound, like it adds to the compound effect. But some people, they're exercising for strength. They're exercising to build their cardiovascular endurance. They're exercising for other reasons, and shedding weight is not the reason. So it doesn't matter when that is during the day.
Okay. Great.
I was told by my doctor that my potassium was depleted by the amount of water I drink. How do I maintain my potassium and drinking 64 ounces of water a day?
Yeah, potassium's funny. Potassium's funny. It's affected by a lot of things that we do. And that's something that you want to work very closely with your healthcare provider. So 64 ounces of water, our organs thrive off of 64 ounces of water. But then you'll hear people say, oh, I drank a gallon of water. And, I never want to put them down, but I do ask, why? If they feel good with a gallon of water, great. My concern is that they're going to be flushing some things out, like potassium, quicker than the body can absorb it. So if someone has a lower potassium, it's really important that they work very closely with their doctor to figure out how much water. To shoot that up to 80 ounces, 100 ounces, might not be the best for them. And my assumption, and I don't know this for a fact, but my assumption is that they would have to do a little bit of trial and error.
Okay. Awesome. We're going to come back to a couple final questions in a minute, but we're very close to wrapping up for tonight. I asked you to bring a food scale with you. Did you happen to bring it? Okay, awesome.
I don't like that.
A lot of people don't like this thing. I know for the program that I was on last year, this was a very big, important tool to have. Could you talk about what role a food scale can play in someone's health journey?
I would, and I'm really glad that you're bringing this up tonight.
Yeah.
A lot of us grew up in a time where, don't talk about weight, don't talk about weighing food, don't talk about all this, don't talk about that. And what happened is we all missed out on a lot of knowledge building. Mm-hmm. So where does a food scale come in to play? Depending on one's goals. So I will use shedding fat as an example.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about macronutrients, we need to be able to get the right amount of vegetables, let's say, in our day. Well, I've tried it many times, and I've been doing this for a while. I've tried it many times to eyeball the right amount of broccoli. And I go under every time, not over, but under every time. Why? Because, who puts that much broccoli on their plate just by, but when you figure out how much you need in your vegetables, the only way to do it is to find out and to weigh those vegetables. It's so important to just build the knowledge. I don't tell people they need to take their scale to the restaurant. I don't tell people that take your scale on vacation unless you want to. I'm saying that if 80% of the time in our life we work on figuring out how much we need in these macronutrients, a food scale is great. And if anyone's, if it starts to filter into their head like, oh, well, yeah, but I don't know if I want, my kids to see someone weighing food. Think about Starbucks. Think about Dunkin' Donuts. They weigh everything. Every shot of every caramel and every it's all measured. Why? Because they lose profit. Well, if we want to reach a goal and we're against weighing the fuel that is going to help us get to that goal, then we're losing profit. We're losing nutrients that need to be on that plate.
Yeah. So you talked about something that people tend to go under on, and I'm sure there are things that people tend to go over on too. by thinking that it's okay, but really they end up having too much of it. And so I brought a little something too, as a little tip. I know a lot of times we think nuts are good, right? Nuts are healthy, and they have the good fat in them. But then sometimes we sit and we have like a whole bag, right? And then that's not so good anymore because it's too much fat. So, one of the tips that I found was when I finally measured or counted how many almonds I really should be having to fit that particular macronutrient in that meal, then I realized that I could fit it in one of these little, I don't know if this camera can zoom in on this, but a little tiny, what is this called? A condiment cup.
Condiment cup.
So, I travel around with one of these in my purse all the time now, especially Sunday mornings in church. If you see me reaching into my purse during service, it's because I'm low on fuel.
But that's a perfect example, because nuts, it's easy to eat 75 almonds if 75 almonds are available.
Yeah.
Well, at least it was easy for me back in the day to eat 75 almonds. But that's a perfect tactic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and something I
Awesome.
just wanted to add about the vegetables. Many people are under the impression that, I can eat all of the vegetables that I want. In some cases, some people can. But if their goal is specific to, let's say, again, shedding fat, well, vegetables are a carbohydrate. So once they get into your system, they're acting as a carbohydrate.
Yeah.
So we can't go over as either.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I know we're going late, but it seems like people want to keep asking questions.
Well,
so
we'll just do one last question.
one last question? Okay,
In general, what does a balanced plate of food looks like?
nice.
And how do I know I'm not consuming empty calories?
Ooh, I love that. Okay, the balanced plate. To be able to eyeball a balanced plate, half of the plate should be fruits, depending on your goal, and vegetables. So half of that plate, like heaping. A quarter of the plate is where your high quality proteins would be. And then a quarter of the plate, depending on your goals, would be where your grains would be. So it's interesting about protein, because in much of the world, like, they're astonished, almost like bewildered, when they see Americans and how much protein that we eat when we take a serving of protein. Because in much of the world, protein is not plentiful, and it's that much isn't needed. So when young kids are talking, and they're talking about going up to these stores and getting all of this extra protein and extra protein and extra protein, you just have to go back to that question, why? You don't need that much protein. Your body can only absorb a certain amount. The second part of that question, empty calories, what a wonderful phrase. That is such a powerful phrase. And how was it asked? How do I know when?
Yeah.
Well, empty calories are not the macronutrients.
How do I know I'm consuming empty calories?
Yeah, so dense calories are the calories that come from your essential nutrients. So those 6 essential nutrients, the macronutrients, protein, carbohydrates, and fats, the other nutrients, which are vitamins, minerals, and water. Anything outside of that, we don't have a need for. That's a want. That's a want, and I didn't know if you wanted to mention the 80-20.
Yeah, so sometimes you're craving something, you want something that is outside of those macronutrients, and wherever you would be sometimes maybe has choices that don't necessarily fit what you're trying to do, but you have been doing a really great job 80% of the time. Mm-hmm. So you and I have been talking about the 80-20 rule and how that's just a wonderful way to also live, a healthy lifestyle, but not necessarily for someone who has a goal to meet and, it's a big goal and they haven't met that yet. They're struggling to meet that. So maybe once they've met that, now's a good time to live with the 80-20 rule. we have a picture to show on the screen that you can take a look at home as well.
So it comes back to those goals. What is the goal? What is the want, the desire in your health? Why do you want that? And how are you going to fuel yourself in order to get that? So is chocolate cake okay on someone or on a loved one's birthday? Yes, absolutely.
Praise the Lord.
Amen. If you are taking a time in your life for a specific goal, such as shedding weight, then you got to stop, got to challenge yourself and say, is that bringing me closer to my goal? Is it not? And if you say, I'm going to have the cake anyway, have the cake. Walk away. 2.5, 3 hours later, have something healthy. And don't carry that guilt. There's the 20%.
Awesome. Awesome. Great. We need to wrap this up, but we're so grateful that you stayed with us. What a great audience tonight. Thanks for your questions. We're going to choose some winners tonight. We've got our water bottle here. This is water bottle. This is a 52 ounce. Why is it saying 32? On the bottom it said 50. I think I got the wrong one. Anyway, I did get this one on purpose because this times 2 equals
perfect. It's actually
64.
perfect. Yeah.
So 2 of these bottles a day makes your 64 ounce goal. Let's see who wins this one.
I should have put my name in there. Huh? You want the bottle? I don't know. No.
All right, who's the winner of this water bottle?
Jordan.
Jordan. Hi.
Come on, buddy.
Come on up.
Come and grab your prize, man. Thanks for
Congratulations.
coming. This looks good. I need to go with you. Got this. Stay with us when we finish here because that video that we played earlier had no sound. We're going to try to play it again.
All right. So we have a winner from our online audience, and this one will receive the 1-month free membership at Best Fitness at a location of your choice. So the winner of that is Betsy Garcia.
Wow.
Yeah. Yay, Betsy.
Wow, Betsy.
I think I know where you work,
congratulations.
Betsy, so we'll be connecting with you soon.
She has a lot of questions tonight, too, so.
All right, and let's pick a winner for the one, what is it, the 30-minute?
Yeah, the 2:30.
So we have
Sorry.
2 of them.
Two,
All
yeah,
right,
so
we'll
because
pick
it would
one
take a
from
full
in-house.
hour, so 2 30-minute.
2 30-minute sessions with Coach Maura. All right?
Debris Brouillard. There's only 2 of them. There was only 2 names in there. All right. She wants to give it to somebody else.
I'll give you an hour anyway. Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do
Absolutely.
we have other?
Do you want it?
Okay.
Take it? Delia?
Would you like it? Okay. She would like it. She
Well,
would like it.
that's
We're
great.
fighting over the prizes here.
That's great. Yeah.
So Sister Stella, right?
Sister Stella, yeah.
Stella is going to get that prize.
That's
all
awesome.
right?
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Wonderful,
Okay,
Stella.
and now our last giveaway is the 45-minute session
Yes, the
with Coach Edmund.
fitness assessment.
Fitness assessment. Okay.
I had one of those with him. That's awesome. Helped me a lot. Go ahead.
All right. So Sister Donna has pulled another name. And again, if you want to give this to someone else, that's fine. But we're so happy to announce that Sister Maribel Jones has won that giveaway.
Wow.
Yay!
And so we're very excited. If you would like to take that offer and run with it, let's connect you to Coach Edmund, and we'll make sure that you get the information that you need. All right? This is awesome.
Yeah.
So
Amen.
good, so helpful. Wow. I
Thank
learned
you
a
for
lot
having
tonight too.
Thank you very
so
much for having me.
I pray this assessment will help you back, Maribel. Amen. So stay with us for just about 30 seconds. We're going to play that video one more time about a wonderful event that we have coming up on Sunday in our church building. God bless you, and we'll see you Sunday morning, 10:30 a.m. We're going to finish this series on Sunday morning. I will be preaching about financial health.
just want to remind you that Harvest Night is this Sunday night. We have tons of games, even more candy, and fun things like a bounce house. We're going to have a great teaching that's going to interact with parents and kids. We just can't wait to see you. Please make sure you register online for this event so that we know how much pizza to order. All right, see you soon.